Netflix's The Sandman grabbed the top spot on the site as soon as it dropped, and for good reason. The series was only about 30 years in the making. So when the show was announced and the cast was revealed, fans were very surprised to see a certain character. In today's video, we're talking about one of the biggest Sandman characters, how they're related to another famous one, and why things were changed up. Let's start with who this iconic character is. The Sandman has quite the ensemble cast, boasting actors like Tom Sturridge, Boyd Holbrook, David Thewlis, Stephen Fry, Jenna Coleman, and today's star, Gwendoline Christie. Gwendolin plays one of the biggest roles in the series, specifically Lucifer, the ruler of hell. She's the princess of darkness, and Morpheus first encounters her in episode 4, where he has to battle her for his magical helmet. Lucifer is understandably not happy about the whole situation, and she threatens to destroy him one day. We don't see the princess again until the 10th and final episode, when we find out she's clearly not over it. She reveals that she's planning to do something big and not in a good way, and that's where we left her at the end of the debut season. But the casting definitely had fans a little bit confused, and here's why. Wait, haven't we seen Lucifer somewhere else? If you're a die-hard Sandman comic fan, you might know that the new Netflix series is not the first adaptation of the beloved graphic novels. Nope, that honor goes to the ex-Fox, later Netflix series Lucifer, starring everyone's favorite fallen angel. There's obviously been many fictional versions of the devil, but the one in Lucifer is meant to be Neil Gaiman's version. It's fully based on the comics, specifically the Sandman spin-off series. In fact, Neil Gaiman has a creator credit on the show too. The storyline that all Lucifer fans know is exactly how it went in the Sandman comics. The Prince of Darkness gets bored of ruling over hell, quits his job, and moves to Los Angeles to open a piano bar against his fellow angels' advice. Well, the show later went off in its own direction, with Lucifer turning to the good guys and helping the police out at times. The basic storyline and premise are still DC Comics canon, but unlike the comics, the show went with Lucifer falling in love with a police detective, and everything was great for everyone. That's not really how the Sandman's Lucifer functions. So, are the two Lucifers connected? The answer to the question is a tough one, because the whole situation is a little complicated. Yes, the two characters are based on the same one from the comics, but why is one a charming, handsome man played by Tom Ellis, while the other is a stone-cold blonde played by Gwendoline Christie? The story of Lucifer in the comics matches the show with Tom. The devil is mad that Dream bested him and made him look kind of stupid in front of all his loyal followers down in hell. So he quits and leaves for LA. In Gaiman's universe, there's a little bit more to it than just being sick and tired of the day job. As we saw in The Sandman, Gwendolin's Lucifer promised to do something nobody would see coming, and it's safe to assume it's leaving hell. But if you've read the original novels, you know that Lucifer hands over the keys of hell to Dream, leaving him to deal with the administrative mess. Now, this might not seem like the harshest punishment ever, but in reality, not only does Dream have his own realm to look after, there are a lot of evil beings out there who are willing to hurt him for control of hell. In origin and premise, the two are definitely connected, especially since both of them have Mazikeen as their right-hand lady. But the similarities stop there. And why wasn't Tom Ellis cast in The Sandman? Fans have all wondered one thing. When the universe already had a great thing going with Tom's version of the character, and his own show had just finished, why not just cast him instead of Gwendolin? The answer is pretty simple. Neil Gaiman is the creator of the characters and the show, and he decided that he wanted to honor the source material a little bit more with the new series. Lucifer used the comics as a guideline and inspiration, but The Sandman treated it like gospel. Gaiman explained that Tom's character was a little too lovable, and none of us can disagree with that. He was concerned that you couldn't actually convince the audience that Tom's version was a genuine threat, since he's such a chill, laid-back guy. In fact, the creator went on to say that Tom's Lucifer would just try and get Morpheus laid. If you've watched his show, you'll know just how true that is. The main issue is that his character can't really match up with Lucifer from the comics. But if you look at Gwendolin's portrayal, you could totally believe that it's the same character as the one in the comics, and she's definitely not about to help Morpheus get laid. But fans still weren't happy about the choice. When it was officially announced announced that Gwendoline Christie would take on the role, fans were immediately divided. On the one hand, they appreciated her for her equally terrifying roles in Star Wars and Game of Thrones, but the others were mad that a woman had been cast in a traditionally male role. Gaiman instantly shut down the trolls, saying that the comics never specified Lucifer's gender, which is true, as they were shown to be androgynous and gender fluid in the comics, along with a certain few other characters. The author went on to say that the character and dialogue were the same, and if anything, the fans might be upset about the actress being taller than the comic character. After all, she does stand at a glorious 6 foot 3 inches. To top it all off, her portrayal is the more accurate one, and as fans actually watched the show, they found it easier to come to terms with that. Now for the real question, did Gwendolyn watch Lucifer? You might think that, as an actor, she would have found the role much more convenient if she sat down and watched Lucifer. After all, the source material is the same, and she had a ready-made show for her to prepare for the role. But according to the actress herself, she made a point of not watching the show. She was open about the fact that she had great respect for Tom, but she didn't think watching his performance as the character was the best idea for her. Her version of the princess is the ruthless, cruel, and straight-up terrifying one that would truly bring the Lord of Dreams to his knees. In a way, this also preserves the future storylines, since fans will know the show isn't going in the same direction as the other one, and will be equally surprised and able to enjoy it that much more. Now for the latest in the world of the endless. It's time for even more Sandman. If you're anything like us, you binged the entire first season of the show in a day and have either been rereading the comics, desperately waiting for news of a renewal, or both. Well, the creators of the show probably saw the incredible response coming, since a new 2-part bonus episode has just dropped on Netflix. The first season covered the first 2 volumes of the series, and this special 11th episode ventures into the next novel, Dream Country. This was a little different from the rest of the series, as it was made up of standalone stories and not a continuation of the main storyline. The special will cover A Dream of 1,000 Cats and Calliope, the first of which will be animated using real oil paintings. It'll also include the voice talents of David Tennant, James McAvoy, Sandra Oh, and Mr. Gaiman himself. The second part will cover the story of Richard Maddock, played by Arthur Darvill, and his capture of the muse Calliope, played by Melisanthe Mahut. Plus, Gwendolin wasn't the only one facing backlash. When the casting was revealed, people had problems with more than one actor. Mason Alexander Park was chosen to play Desire, while Kirby Howell Baptiste would play their sister, Death. Neil Gaiman was accused of not caring about the source material, since Mason is non-binary and Kirby is black. But the author shot back instantly, saying he didn't care about the opinions of people who tried to put labels on the characters, instead saying they didn't understand Sandman to begin with. Lastly, is this the beginning of a new universe? The comics had plenty of spin-offs, and when the series dropped, people started talking about spin-off shows as well. For the most part, fans want to see shows following Death, who got 2 spin-off comic series of her own, and the other people living in the Dreaming. But the most popular by far is one for Johanna Constantine, and Gaiman himself seems to be in support of it. That's a wrap for this video. Which Lucifer is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.